Good morning. How you doing? Welcome along. Today is Tuesday, 29th of November 2022. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack at 6:45. Bear with me 1 second. So this is where we start to get the day moving. We start to get the body moving. We mobilise everything early so I can shift out the door and get up to work. Okay, some more lights. I've been rushing around emptying dishwasher and everything this morning. Really importantly, making myself a cup of tea. So, first movement snack of the day, mobilisation, circulation boosting. Important we boost our circulation on a regular basis. So if you've been sat down for a while during the day, not only when you get up first thing or when you start to do one of these snacks, if you've sat down for a little while, have a bit of a circulation booster, get that blood pumping around the body again before you go and do whatever it is you're going to go and do. It's a great way to start your day, great way to start whatever it is that you're going to do, whether it be go and do some shopping or something. Get everything moving. Now, movement snacks, 3 a day, as you know. If you're new to us, because we are still getting new people join us, unbelievable, nearly two and three quarter, getting on for 3 years later, we're still getting people joining us, which is great. But remember, we've got 3 snacks a day, and all of them incorporate movements that we do in our everyday life. So this morning snack is about getting the body loosened up, getting it ready, getting it positioned in such a way that it can take on the day. Our second movement snack is about balance and strength in the middle of the day. Now, times can change. As you know, this is an 8 o'clock snack, but it's 6:45 in the morning. Noon is our other normal snack, but again, it can change as things have happened and we've got to go back to doing more normal work activities. And our working pattern has changed. Times have to move a little bit with that sometimes, not always. So noon is where you have balance and strength. And then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or thereabouts, it's all about 3-dimensional movement. So it's about challenging our body to move in more than one direction, because that's the way we do. We don't move in one direction. But also what it does is it gives us a little bit of challenge as far as balance is concerned. And it's a great way to relax and unwind as far as the body is concerned. And then we have some stretches as well. It's important to stretch all those parts of the body that we've used throughout the day. So we have a little bit of a stretch as well. We call that our sway and stretch. This is our mobilisation and circulation boosting. And then lunchtime, you've got your strength and your balance. Now, I know that some of you are going to be fairly light as far as participants are concerned today, because it is early. You know, normally I do this at 7 o'clock if I do it early, but I'm actually doing it earlier than that as well today. So if you are early, welcome. If you're on catch up, pop me a comment in. Let me know we've spent a little bit of time together, and I'll come back to you later on in the day. Right, I'm just going to have a last sip of tea and then we'll get ourselves going. So, ready for 3, 2, 1? 3, 2, 1. Oh, good morning, everybody. Welcome along. Today is Tuesday. It's the 29th of November 2022. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack at 6:45 in the morning. Ready to take on the day. Now, as always, you can do this in a standing or you can do it in a seated position. The choice is yours, okay? In standing, we've got our fixed external support. We've got a strong, sturdy chair, and I managed to get my space back from the cat. She had it a few minutes ago. She was here, but she decided she's going to have a second breakfast, so I've jumped in quick. So she's kicking the evils now. She's just come back in. So if you are doing it in standing, so make sure you've got that support available to you. Let's get ourselves ready to go. So start with our posture. In standing and in seated, it's exactly the same. In seated, we just need to make sure that we bring our back away from the chair. So if we're in our seated position, the back comes away from the back of the chair. We sit tall, so we're doing the support. And then it's this lift and shift to hip walk into the front third of the chair. Once we're sat here, we line everything back up. And this is exactly the same in standing, okay? Heels in line, knees in line with hips. Lift and lengthen to grow taller. Shoulders up, back, press down, lengthening through the neck. And let's start with our circulation boosting. Heels coming off the floor to start off with, lifting those heels clear of the floor, starting to get some movement happening into the lower part of the body. And then from there, it's all about making these movements bigger. not faster. So from here we can take it into a march, lifting the foot clear of the floor, starting to get some more movement into those ankles. Getting those legs moving. Remembering that in seated we can get sometimes a little bit of muscle fatigue here, so you've always got that option of coming back into that heel raise, or you've got that diagonal toe tap forward if you want to change the movement. Now let's pop an arm in as well. Just the one arm, and the elbow is bent, driving it backwards, so we've got this purposeful movement. If we're using support, we've got one hand on the support. Now the support might be in front, or it could be to the side. It's whatever works for you. Now, in seated and in standing without using support, we can just change hands as we want to. But if we are using support, we need to think about it. So, hand comes down before the other hand comes off. Therefore, if we've got support in front of us, we can change hands as many times as we want to. But if it's to the side, it's a little bit different. To take it from the side, we'd lose the arm, make the march a little bit smaller, take as many steps as we need to turn into our support. Both hands are on. As we turn the other way, we come back to one hand on the other side, and then we can bring that other arm back in. And then finally, in seated and in standing, if we're not using support, we could use both arms. So we've got both arms, both legs going. Heart should start to beat a little bit faster. Probably find we're breathing a little bit harder as well. And what we're doing is we're opening those arteries, getting that blood flowing around the body. We're warming the muscles, we're warming and loosening the joints, ready for us to take on not only our trio of trios, but also the day. Okay, so as we come to our 2-3 minutes max, let's start to bring this down. Make the march a little bit smaller, make the arms a little bit smaller. Let's take those arms out, bring this march back into a heel raise, and then to a pause, at which point, a couple of deep breaths. Right, let's move into our trio of trios. 3 threes before 9, as we say, okay? Top trio, head and shoulders. Now, posture-wise, heels in line with knees, knees in line with hips, lift and length. So it's that good, strong, tall posture, lifting tall, making sure we lengthen through this neck as well. Come a bit closer. It's exactly the same in seated. Shoulders, lift up towards our ears, and then we press them back down, trying to take them a little bit further than where we started. So we're getting the best range of motion that we can. Now let's think about our shoulders. Anything where we take the arms away from the body, the shoulders are involved in. So 4 or 5 of these is going to start to loosen that shoulder joint for us, start to get some mobility in there. And once we've done our 4 or 5, take a pause and let's take it into a rotation. So we bring the shoulders forward, we lift up towards our ears, back past our earlobes, shoulder blades together, and we press down. Look who's come and taken a space back. Lift up, back, together, and down. Oh, she's going to be the death of me one of these days. She's decided, no, this is my space, Dad. I'm using it. Okay, so here we're trying to get the best range of motion that we can. Lifting and rotating. And again, we're looking at 4 or 5 of those. Once we've done those 4 or 5, nice loosen through the shoulders, let's move into the neck. So eye line stays level. Have some support if you need it. Turn the head to the side. Pause in the centre and then turn the head the other way. And what we're trying to do is take the chin over to the shoulder. But we're not looking up, we're not looking down, we're keeping this eye line level. And this little pause in the centre is really important. That gives the system in our ears a chance to sort itself out before we turn the other way. And that should prevent us from getting any dizziness or any lightheadedness as far as the turn of the head is concerned. 4 or 5 on each side, crossing the road. Looking to pick something up. In my case, looking to see that the cat's nicked me space. All those sorts of activities. Head, again, we use it all the time in the day. Let's get it mobile. All right, let's bring it down into my proposal position. And let's go into the back of the head. Here, okay? So fingers on chin, as a guide only. Eye line stays level, and we lengthen through the back of the neck. So we're there. Either keeping the fingers on the chin, or leave the fingers where they are, come back to them. So you're using the fingers as a guide as to where you started and where you're stopping. So coming back and forward. Again, 4 or 5 of those. And as you can see from the front, you don't see a great deal of stuff happening. But what we're doing is we're restacking that head back onto the top of the spine. So getting the atlas and the axis in line. There we go. Bit of technical for you. Making sure Basically, we're just putting the head back on. All right, but we're getting that centre of gravity. That's what we're doing. The head tends to come forward, and we've adapted over time, jobs-wise and everything, life-wise, we've started to allow this head to come forward, and that drags the shoulders forward as well. Head's one of the heaviest parts of the body, so if that comes forward, you can see how it starts to drag everything else with it, and we get a really good, tall, lengthened posture through that chest and neck. Gives us that great alignment. 4 or 5 of those, and once you've done those, take a pause, and we're heading back into a circulation booster. Bottom half of the body only. So it's the feet, moving those feet. Now you carry on with that. I'm just going to see if I can rearrange Puss Puss. Can I just get you over here, darling? Come on. You come just lie here, look. Have a little snoozy woozy there, and then you can come back here. So we've just got those feet. Maybe don't sit over here, Dad. I sit there. Have a little movement. Get those feet going. Think about this foot placement. Coming down onto the ball of the foot, rolling through, onto the toes, rolling through to the ball of the foot and then onto the toes. 30 seconds is all we're looking at, just enough to give the body a bit of a reboost as we move from our top trio down into our trunk area here. So, as we get to that 30 seconds, bring this down to a bit smaller, bring it back to a pause, and let's reset our base of support. So we're going to take it to a wider base of support this time. Heels in line with our knees, not in line with our knees, in line with our shoulders, outside of our hips, okay? First movement is a side bend. It comes straight down, straight up with a pause, and then the other way. And again, remember with your hands, you're using your support. So you're changing hands every time. Therefore, if your support's to the side, it's slightly different. We come into the support with the side bend, pause in the centre, and then we take it back that other way. You do your 4 or 5 on one side, and then you turn into your support. In many steps, you need to change. Seated, it's all about your bum. So your buttocks stay firmly on that chair as we reach down, and then pause in the centre before we reach down the other way. Keeping that bum on the chair. So we're lengthening through the side of the body. Reaching down to pick something from a lower shelf, something that might be on a coffee table by the side of you, into your handbag, ladies, that you might have put down on the floor. All of those sorts of movements, this is where this is involved in. And here, in seated, I'm using my bottom to give me some sensory input. So it's telling me if I'm shifting the weight from side to side, I can feel that I've got movement into my hips. And we want to try and keep our hips and pelvis still throughout this trio. Okay, 4 or 5 on each side. Once you've done that 4 or 5, take a pause, and we're heading into our trunk turns, our trunk rotations, okay? So soften knees, and it's just this part of the body we're trying to move, not the hips, all right? So elbows in line with shoulders, so we focus into the trunk, we turn to the side, we pause in the centre, and then we turn the other way. Now again, with support, you change your hands every time. If it's to the side, it's exactly the same. You take it into the support, or pop your bottom or your hips against the support, because in seated, and if you're standing using that support, you get that sensory input that tells you here whether the hips are moving. So if I feel one of the buttocks lifting off, I know that I've got movement into the hips, and we don't want that. We want to try and focus everything into our trunk. Now with seated, you can also use your legs as a guide, so you can take one hand across to the other side. In standing with your support, you can take one hand across the table. But it's about trying to focus into here, not into the chest and not into the hips. We can take it a little bit further and get a bit of rotation into the chest as well, but move the trunk first before you add that little bit if you want to. 4 or 5 on each side. Seat belts, coats in this weather, but also rolling over in bed. All of those sorts of activities, that is included. Final one for our back is into our lower back. It's our big back extenders. Now here, it's about lengthening and extending through the back. So we're not going to tip the pelvis forward or backwards. So standing tall, come this way a little bit so you can see against the fireplace. Eye line stays level. Lift the chest and extend the shoulders back a little way. Okay, in and release. So we lift and we extend. Coming in and releasing. 4 or 5 of those. And again, you could use your support for input, sensory input, that's the word I'm looking for. Because again, in my seat here now, I can feel through the way that my bottom and the top of my thigh is touching that chair as to whether I've got movement into my lower back and to my pelvis, sorry. Because what we want to do is lift and lengthen and extend, not lean. So it's not this movement here leaning back. That's not an extension. What we're looking at is lifting to start to draw that spine a little bit taller, and then if we draw the shoulders back a little bit, we start to extend it as well. 4 or 5 of these on each side, and if you suffer from any lower back pain, this is going to feel really good onto that lower back. Now, from here, once you've done your 4 or 5, let's take it back into a circulation booster again. Top half of the body only this time. So some arm swings with those arms. No leg movement. And if you're seated and standing is not on your radar, this is a point at which you might want to go over some of the other movements we've just done and add those back in. Alternatively, come into ankle, feet and toes, which is our next trio we're going to work in towards. 30 seconds of circulation boosting firstly, getting those arms moving. Oh, that's nice. Long, strong movements. Just revitalising the body. As we come to that 30 seconds, let's bring it back down a little way and then bring it to a pause, at which point, ankle, feet and toes. Now, in standing, have some support available. Focus on your movement, not your balance. You don't have to use it, but it's there. Leg that's closest to it, leg that's not moving, knee stays soft. Other foot, and it's going to go to the front eventually, but start off with toe and then heel in the same place. As the heel's down, display the toes. As you put the toes, rotate through, crunch them, and then point them at the floor, okay? So I've got my toes splayed, I'm scrunching, and I'm pointing. 4 or 5 on one side, take as many steps as you need to turn to the other side, and then do it again on the other side. In seated, we can do that same movement. We just need to reposition our foot to give us that angle to work within. But there we go, look, there's that ankle, heel, and toe. Or what you might find a little bit more comfortable is to come back into the chair, extend the leg away in front, about 1 inch off the floor, 2 inches at the max. Point the toes, bring them in towards the shin. Here's our scrunch of our toes, here's our splay of the toes. Now, this is not a strength movement, so if you need to pop your foot down after every one or every couple, do. And likewise, don't allow it to drift up. Keep it down low, okay? Once you've done your 4 or 5 on the one side, you change to the other side and away you go. 4 or 5 on that side as well. And in standing, if we come up to standing, here is that heel toe action look. So as we walk, and if you exaggerate it here, heel rolling through to the ball, onto the toe, and the other foot is coming up off the heel, onto the ball, onto the toe. So that is our walking position. So a few of those. Just to finish off, stepping through, and feel those toes starting to engage with the floor. There we go, that is your 8 AM movement snack at 6:45 on a Tuesday morning, just to confuse you. Okay, I'll be back with you at 8 AM tomorrow morning. I'm back to normal tomorrow. It's the Tuesdays and the Thursdays that are the problem ones for me normally. Sometimes a Friday as well. So, 8 AM tomorrow morning. Now listen, from here on in, right, I want you to go and have a great day. Stay active, stay moving, keep crowbarring in additional activities, catch up with Kels and with Bex later on. You have a good one, and I'll see you bright and breezy tomorrow morning at 8 AM. Toodles, everybody.